everywhere.
It is beautiful to see, but let's get into this. Let's introduce the two players spawning. In the bottom right position, we have the Zerg player, currently teamless. He is from the UK. It's JonnyREcco. And his opponent up in the top left, he is one game up. Very happy about that, no doubt. The red Zerg player, Protosser.
Here's the ZVZ here. This map's difficult to go hatch first on because of how wide the choke is. Most players will go for the pull first, but just because I said that, we're probably going to see two hatch firsts. But you know, from my personal experience and what I've seen other pros do, most people like to go the pull first. It's just with this wide choke, speeding timings are hard to hold off. You can't get the queens in position to defend. Spine crawlers can't get them in position to wall off anything. It's really hard to do that. We'll have to see where they want to go for this. But I mean, it's really hard to just to talk about versatility in this matchup. Everyone goes for Muto play. So it all comes down to the early game, how much link bailing damage is done, and then who can get their third base saturated quicker. And we do see a pull first here from JonnyREcco. Protosser going for the hatch first.
Different strategies, but as we mentioned in Game 1, Zoya, economically, they work out quite similar. You get an earlier queen from the pool first, which means you get more lava out. The hatch first just obviously means you've got your natural up slightly quicker, but not a massive amount of difference. And Protoss are actually going for the gas before pool, so really committing a lot in order to get out that gas ASAP. Going to get speed out sooner, also banelings out sooner. And touching on the mutalist thing, yes, mute on muter is very common in ZVZ, but it's not the only way things can go. People do experiment with Hydralisk, do experiment with roaches still. Infestors can also have some viability, but the trouble with muters is that with the buff in Heart of the Swarm, where they got so much more health regeneration, if you don't kill them, they're back to full health in at most 2 in-game minutes, and that makes them so difficult to deal with, unless of course you have more muters of your own.
Yeah, I mean that's really it. They originally buffed the Spore Crawler to help against the Muta play and maybe help branch out other builds, and they're thinking about doing it again. In all honesty, I don't see Spore Crawler buffs being the answer to stop mutas. Very rarely will you see a Zerg player, you know, even engage over a Spire. There's always a place in someone's base you can harass with mutas that won't be affected by a Spore Crawler, and I mean, they need to change something else, and it's hard to do that. You know, I'm glad that Blizzard's taking their time with it. They're experimenting with things, because if you change the Infestor, it affects other matchups in a negative way. If you change Hydralisk, it affects other matchups in a negative way again. I mean, there are very few options. I mean, I like what someone said on Reddit, that they should just change Mutas to Scourge, because that would be the perfect answer.
It would be such a sweeping change though, and that in itself would have big issues as well. So obviously balance changes is always fun. I try to stay out of it because there's such complexity to it that
definitely.
No answer is always the easiest, and that's why I actually like the Blizzard. I'm trying to make small steps to make things change. So
take it slow.
Yep, as we can see now, we've got Baning Nest coming down on both sides, speed coming down on both sides, 2 Zerglings on the way out for Rico. Meanwhile, we don't have any Zergling. Oh no, we do have 2 Zerglings out for Protosser, so just Rico getting 2 additional ones out. Nothing big, nothing scary, nothing too crazy as of yet. And with the Spine Crawler for Rico, these two just looking to be relatively passive for the time being, but being ZVZ, Protosser can just spam out 10 Zerglings whenever he feels like, and that is precisely what he's going to be doing now.
Yeah, the Spine Crawler definitely shows offensive play from JonnyREcco. We'll have to see if he gets a read on what Protosser is doing. Like you said, 10 lings on the way. Just a small amount of harassment like we saw last game, and he's already following up with drones, so he's not being too greedy. Ling gets a full scout of what's going on in this main base, and it's still alive. Its sling speed just about to finish, but it does go down before the lings pop out. Lair started immediately for Protosser. Still no lair from JonnyREcco.
Yeah, nothing really coming out in response to that in terms of the lair, but he hasn't scouted it out yet. All JonnyREcco's really doing for the time being is getting out his Roach Warren, getting a couple of Banelings, and really trying to hold off this pressure. We see a great surround that goes down on that Queen. Luckily though, some good Baneling hits means that one will survive and most of the Zerglings taken out. All the drones getting pulled here by Rico, wants to stay out of the real fray, but actually Protoss are not doing too badly there. He didn't manage to kill any workers, but did manage to snipe off a Queen. And Rico doesn't have a second one, a spare one in his main. That means less lava injects, less lava will be coming down, and ultimately that's going to hurt his production, his income, and his army size.
JonnyREcco is going for something a little different here. He's going for a Roach Warren timing attack. He's going to build probably about 6-7 roaches and then flood with a bunch of lings, give a Baneling timing attack. This is a pretty all-in build. And this is a good answer for people who don't like Muto versus Muto Wars. We do see the first 7 roaches on the way. The problem is with that initial queen loss, it does slow down at Gingex, like you said, and the Spire's already on the way. So if Mutos could get out and clean this up before any real damage is done, Protosser is going to be way ahead.
He will be way ahead, but it comes back to the old saying that, oh, you're going Mutas? Guess I'll just come and kill you. It's a good strategy to go for, and really, unless Protosser does something big here to defend this, he's going to be in a lot of problems. There's quite a few roaches on their way. Belshir, admittedly, is quite large to get across, so there is time. The Overlords will spot everything that moves out. JonnyREcco getting a couple more speedlings behind this, but let's take a look at the natural base, though. Spine Crawler's already getting thrown down, and this is precisely what Protosser needs to do. He's got to hold this off in time for the Mutas to hit the field.
Yep, bunch of Spines go down, Banelings being morphed in as well. Defending against these Roaches is so important. Spines are only halfway done. I feel like a few of them in the back are going to finish before the Roaches can get in range of them. So I feel that Protosser should be able to hold this off. Banelings coming forward here. Banelings about to finish for Protosser. He's coming forward, softening up a lot of the Banelings of his opponent. And they're just going to go straight for a run-by. This is such a smart move here from JonnyREcco.
Yeah, that was a brilliant move right there. Running straight by, going to focus down the Queen. This is, of course, going to mean some problems. The Spire is finished now, though, for Protosser, so that means that he does have the option to go Mutas, but the problem is his lair is going to take some damage. How do you deal with these roaches up in your main base? The answer with extreme difficulty. The spawning pool probably going to get focused down as well. Any reinforcements coming through will take damage, but Protosser just going to go in for a Zergling counterattack in towards JonnyREcco's natural. He's got a lot of speedlings running across the map. They will be able to do a considerable amount of damage, and Protosser, with just oh so many spines, JonnyREcco can't come back out of the main base.
Lairs being targeted down, now there's still 2 Banelings here. Spawning pool is dead, so no more links. Really curious as to why Protosser hasn't built a single Mutalisk. He's just kind of chilling with the Spire being finished. But the Lings in the main base, forcing these drones to back off. There are Roaches here to defend, and the Queens as well. I didn't think JonnyREcco was going to win with this push. I thought Protosser had it easy peasy, but this is definitely looking in favor of JonnyREcco right now. He's got his lair just about to finish. Only 3 Mutas on the way for Protosser. Third base is up for both about to be up for both players. I mean, look at the supply. It says it all.
Yeah, and that was because the reason that Protosser didn't get many Mutas out is because he didn't actually have gas mining for a long time, and now the Roaches are right next to the Spire. If JonnyREcco can snipe that Spire off, which he will be able to do so, that is such a massive win for him.
Oh yeah, definitely. He'd have to rebuild that, and the meter count's still pretty low for Protosser, so JonnyREcco will have no trouble catching back up. Nice split to try and avoid as much bounce as possible, but it looks like the bounce is hitting all of them. And the Spire does go down with 2 Roaches left over. I mean, with the main base done, no lair here. Still, has he not rebuilt the spawning pool? No, still no spawning pool. So the units on the field are 4 Lings and 4 Mutas. That's all of the attacking units that Protosser has. That's all he's going to have for a while.
JonnyREcco going for that Hydra Den as well, absolute genius, because going for the Hydra Den, it gets out so much quicker than that of a Spire. You know that your opponent can't go Mutas, knows that he doesn't have a lair, therefore if you go Roach Hydra, you can deal with any Mutas on the field and just go and kill him with such high DPS. Really genius move there from Johnny there. And, well, this is going to be really tough for Protosser. With only those 5 Mutalisks, he won't be able to do enough damage to make it really worthwhile.
Yeah, he can pick up a few Overlords and maybe like 1 or 2 drones, but with this many Queens on the field, it's just such an easy defense. Hydra Tech, 4 Hydras on the way, Roach Warren as well with the Roach speed, going to be following up with a powerful attack. And building Spore Collars too, just to be safe. Look at the supply, 54 to 89. Income tab, 38 to 59. JonnyREcco is ahead on everything right now. He is sitting pretty. He's going to hit a 3-base timing attack with a bunch of Roaches and Hydras and should be able to end this game. I don't know what Protosser... I mean, he still has a bunch of Spines left over, so that's going to help him out quite a bit, but I do not know if it'll be enough.
I really don't see it being enough. He hasn't restarted his lair yet, ultimately, so he's going to be so far behind in any tech. The third base is up, the Spore Crawler down. Those Spore Crawlers alone are doing tremendous damage to the Mutalisk. The Hydras as well just make it even tougher. JonnyREcco's just going to wait for muscular arguments. He's getting a Nidus worm down as well, because Nidus networks are, of course, great fun and means that he doesn't have to worry about the lack of creep spread to get his units to the other side of the map quickly.
There's 2 Banelings sitting in JonnyREcco's main base, by the way. So whenever Protosser remembers that he built those there,
which is right now. That was good timing there, I've got to say, Zoya. He remembers them, and in they come, and of course, a couple of drones go down, but JonnyREcco is actually at 47 to 51 workers, so they were actually equal on that. But of course, now we've just got Rico moving forward with a couple of roaches. He's pumping a lot more units. His Nidus network is completed, and he's just going to start picking off drones of his own.
Where is he going to throw this nice roach? Where it is? There it is. I love that it is the mini-map peak now. Some drones being killed here on the hold position on these roaches. These 3 meters are going to take forever. This Nidus Swarm, it's not like in base or anything, but it's still going to be faster reinforcements than it is to just rally roaches and hiders across the map. Did he already get roach or Hydra speed? Let me check. He did have Hydra speed. He does not have the groove spines yet, which is fine. Queen's pumping out here, going to help drop some creep spread, get some transfuges, going to bust the 3rd base. And I mean, 118 supply to 76. I don't think Protosser can hold on much longer.
No, in come a whole ton of queens, a whole ton of roaches and hydras in towards this 3rd base. The spine crawlers trying to do some damage, but there's only a handful there. While the rest are rooting, they're going to get taken out, and Protosser realizes that he doesn't have a chance there, and so G